The call came at 2:47 a.m. I remember the exact time because I'd been staring at my phone, waiting for Marcus to text me back about our date the next day. Instead, it was an automated voice from my credit card company. "This is a fraud alert. We've detected unusual activity on your account ending in 4782. A charge of $3,500 at Bella's Bridal Boutique was just attempted. Press 1 if this was you, press 2 if this was not you." My heart stopped. I hadn't been anywhere near a bridal boutique. I hadn't even been shopping. With trembling fingers, I pressed 2. The next 15 minutes blurred together as I spoke with a fraud specialist who rattled off charge after charge. Wedding venue deposit, $5,000. Catering down payment, $4,000. Photographer retainer, $2,500. Florist consultation and deposit, $1,800. DJ services, $1,200. Wedding dress and alterations, $3,500. Bridesmaid gifts, $800. Save the date cards from some fancy stationery place, $1,200, $20,000. My emergency credit card, the one I kept locked in my desk drawer for actual emergencies, had been maxed out. "Ma'am, are you still there?" the specialist asked. "Yes," I whispered, my mind racing. Only 3 people knew where I kept that card. Me, my boyfriend Marcus, and my sister Rachel. Rachel, who'd just gotten engaged 3 months ago. Rachel, who'd been complaining about how expensive weddings were. Rachel, who had a key to my apartment. "I need to file a fraud claim," I said, my voice stronger now. "None of these charges are mine." After hanging up, I sat in the darkness of my bedroom, processing what had just happened. My own sister. My little sister who I'd helped through college, who I'd let crash at my place whenever she fought with our parents, who I'd covered for more times than I could count. I grabbed my laptop and logged into my credit card account. The charges went back 2 months, small at first, then escalating. She'd been planning this, spacing them out so I wouldn't notice on my statements. But I hadn't been checking because that card was supposed to be for emergencies only. I trusted. It would be there when I needed it. My phone buzzed. Marcus finally texting back, "Can't wait for tomorrow. Sleep tight, beautiful." I couldn't even process that right now. My hands shook as I scrolled through Rachel's Instagram. There it was, post after post. Her showing off wedding dress options 2 months ago with the caption, "Found the one at Bella's." The same boutique from my credit card statement. Photos of her at a fancy venue with the caption, "Putting down the deposit on our dream location." Dated 3 weeks ago, matching the $5,000 charge. Even a boomerang of her popping champagne with her bridesmaids, tagged at the stationery store where she'd spent $1,200 of my dollars. She'd documented her entire crime spree on social media. By 4 a.m., I'd screenshot everything. By 5 a.m., I'd typed and deleted a dozen texts to her. By 6 a.m., I was standing outside her apartment, knocking on her door. Rachel answered in her pajamas, her engagement ring catching the morning light. "Emma, what are you doing here so early?" "We need to talk," I said, pushing past her into the apartment she shared with her fiancé, Brad. "Is everything okay? You look terrible." I almost laughed. "No, Rachel, everything is not okay. Want to explain? Why you stole my credit card and charged $20,000 worth of wedding expenses on it." The color drained from her face. "I don't know what you're talking about." "Really? So you didn't take my emergency credit card from my desk? You didn't use it at Bella's Bridal? At the Rosewood Manor? At literally every wedding vendor in the city?" "Emma, I can explain." "So you did take it." She bit her lip, a habit from childhood, when she knew she was caught. "I was going to pay you back. $20,000? When? How?" "After the wedding. Brad's getting a promotion, and I'm starting that new job. We just needed help with the deposits. Mom and Dad said they couldn't help, and Brad's parents already paid for the rehearsal dinner. I didn't have a choice." "You didn't have a choice?" My voice rose. "You could have asked me. You could have scaled back your wedding. You could have done literally anything besides committing credit card fraud." "It's not fraud," she said, crossing her arms. "You're my sister. Family helps family. Family doesn't steal from family. And yes, it is fraud. I've already reported it to the credit card company. Her face went from pale to red. You did what? Emma, how could you? This is my wedding. You're going to ruin everything. I'm going. To ruin everything? You stole $20,000 from me. I borrowed it. God, why do you have to be so dramatic about everything? Just call them back and tell them it was a misunderstanding. No. Emma, please. The wedding is in 3 weeks. If you do this, I'll have to cancel everything. Is that what you want? To ruin the most important day of my life? Brad stumbled out of the bedroom, still half asleep. What's going on? Your fiancé stole my credit card and used it to pay for your wedding, I said flatly. He blinked. What? Rachel, is that true? She's being dramatic, Rachel said. I borrowed it. I was going to pay her back. You maxed out a $20,000 credit limit, I said to Brad. Did you know about this? He shook his head slowly, looking at Rachel like he was seeing her for the first time. Rachel, tell me you didn't actually do this. The wedding industry is a scam, she cried. Everything costs so much, and everyone expected us to have this perfect day. What was I supposed to do? Not commit fraud, I said. I'm done here. The credit card company will be in touch. I suggest you figure out how to pay for a lawyer instead of a wedding. I turned to leave, but Rachel grabbed my arm. Emma, wait. Please, we can work this out. What if I return the dress? Cancel the flowers? I'll pay you back, I swear. With what money? You just said you couldn't afford any of it in the first place. We'll figure it out. Please don't do this. You're my sister. I pulled my arm free. You should have thought about that before you stole from me. The drive home was a blur. My phone rang constantly. Rachel, then my mom, then my dad, then Rachel again. I ignored them all until I got home, then finally answered my mom's 15th call. Emma, what is this nonsense Rachel's telling me about you trying to ruin her wedding? Is that how she phrased it? That I'm trying to ruin her wedding? She said you're upset about some credit card mix-up and you're blowing it out of proportion. Mom, she stole my emergency credit card and charged $20,000 on it without my permission. That's not a mix-up. That's fraud. Don't be ridiculous. She's your sister. I'm sure she meant to ask you. She didn't ask. She took it from my apartment and used it for 2 months behind my back. Well, can't you just work out a payment plan? The wedding is in 3 weeks. Think about how this looks. How this looks? Mom, she committed a crime. Emma, be reasonable. She's family. You don't get police involved with family. You two need to work this out like adults. She should have thought about that before stealing from me like a common thief. Don't you dare call your sister a thief. She made a mistake. She stressed about the wedding. You know how she gets. I did know how she got. Rachel had always been the baby, the one who could do no wrong, the one whose mistakes were always someone else's fault or just stress or a misunderstanding. And I'd always been expected to fix it, smooth it over, make it go away. Not this time, Mom. She's an adult. She made adult choices. Now she gets adult consequences. If you go through with this, you'll tear this family apart. Rachel tore this family apart when she decided to steal from me. I hung up and turned off my phone. The next 3 days were hell. I went to the police station and filed a report. The officer taking my statement seemed sympathetic, but warned me that family cases like this were complicated. You sure you want to pursue this? He asked. Once we start an investigation, it's hard to take it back. I'm sure, I said, handing over the screenshots I'd printed. She documented the whole thing on social media. I met with the credit card company's fraud investigator. I changed my locks. I ignored the barrage of calls and texts from my family. Marcus was supportive, but clearly uncomfortable with the family drama. My best friend, Keisha, was the only one who seemed to understand. She's been walking all over you for years, Keisha said, over wine at her place. Remember when she wrecked your car and somehow you ended up paying for the repairs? That was different. She was in college. What about when she used your Netflix password and gave it to all her friends, and you got locked out of your own account? That was just Netflix. Or when she told that guy you were dating that you had cheated on your ex, which wasn't even true. I stared into my wine glass. I get it. There's a pattern. I'm just saying, this isn't out of nowhere. She's been testing boundaries forever, and you've always let her get away with it. I'm proud of you for finally standing up to her. A week before the wedding, I got a call from a detective. They'd been assigned to my case and needed to ask some follow-up questions. Could I come to the station? We've reviewed the evidence, Detective Morrison said, sliding a folder across the desk. The social media posts were particularly helpful. Your sister made this very easy for us. So what happens now? We've prepared a warrant for her arrest. Credit card fraud over $10,000 is a felony. She's looking at serious charges. My stomach churned. When will you arrest her? That's actually what I wanted to discuss with you. We know the wedding is this Saturday. We could pick her up before then. Or we could wait until after. Your call. I thought about all the family gatherings where Rachel's needs had come first. All the times I'd been told to be the bigger person, to let it go, to keep the peace. All the money and opportunities I'd sacrificed to help her, only to have her help herself to more. She's getting married at the Rosewood Manor, I said. The ceremony starts at 4 p.m. 3 days before the wedding, my dad showed up at my apartment. I saw him through the peephole and almost didn't answer, but he looked older somehow, tired in a way I'd never seen before. Emma, he said when I opened the door. Can we talk? I let him in. He sat on my couch, the same spot where Rachel had. Crashed so many times and rubbed his face. Your mother doesn't know I'm here, he said. She'd be furious. But I need to know. Did Rachel really do what you said? I showed him the credit card statements, the screenshots, the police report. He was quiet for a long time. $20,000, he finally said. Jesus Christ. Dad, I know we've always been easier on her. She was premature, you remember? So small. The doctors weren't sure she'd make it. Your mother never got over that fear, I think. Always protecting her, always making excuses. I remember. But this is beyond anything I imagined. Emma, I'm sorry. We should have listened to you. We should have done something sooner. What are you going to do? He shook his head. I don't know. Your mother is convinced this will all blow over. She thinks you'll drop the charges. Rachel thinks the same. They're going forward with the wedding like nothing happened. I'm not dropping the charges. I know. He stood to leave, then paused at the door. Whatever happens, Emma, you're doing the right thing. I should have told you that sooner. The morning of the wedding, I woke up to texts from numbers I didn't recognize. Extended family, family friends, people I hadn't talked to in years, all saying variations of the same thing. How could you do this to your sister on her wedding day? Apparently, Rachel had sent out a mass message playing the victim, claiming I was jealous of her happiness and trying to sabotage her wedding over a miscommunication about money. I didn't respond to any of them. Marcus came over around noon. You sure you want to go through with this? You think I should let her get away with it? I think it's going to be messy. Your whole family will be there. They made their choice. They chose to enable her. I'm done protecting them from consequences. He kissed my forehead. I'll be here when you get home. I didn't go to the wedding, of course, but Keisha did, as my eyes and ears. She texted me updates throughout the afternoon. 30 p.m. People are arriving. Your mom looks stressed. 3:45 p.m. Overheard your aunt saying you should be ashamed of yourself for missing this. p.m. Ceremony starting. Rachel looks beautiful. Also no sign of trouble yet. 4:15 p.m. They're doing the vows now. 4:18 p.m. Holy shit, Emma. Cops just walked in. My phone immediately exploded with calls. I turned it off and waited. Keisha arrived at my apartment 2 hours later with a bottle. of champagne and a wild look in her eyes. Emma, you are not going to believe what I just witnessed. Tell me everything. She poured us both glasses. Okay, so the cops waited until right after the vows, but before they were pronounced married. They walked down the aisle, and at first, everyone thought it was some kind of joke. Then one of them asked for Rachel by her full name. What did she do? She tried to run. In a wedding dress. In heels. She made it about 10 feet before tripping on her train. Brad just stood there with his mouth open. Your mom started screaming at the cops that they were ruining everything. Your dad tried to calm her down. Did they arrest her? Right there in front of everyone. Put her in handcuffs and everything. The photographer was still taking pictures. Out of habit, I think. The whole place was chaos. Guests were filming on their phones. Your aunt fainted. It was absolutely insane. I took a sip of champagne, waiting to feel something. Guilt, maybe. Regret. Instead, I just felt free. Your mom tried to stop them, Keisha continued. She kept saying it was a family matter, that you were just being vindictive. One of the cops had to threaten to arrest her for interfering. That's when your dad finally got her to stop. What about Brad? He looked devastated. His parents were trying to figure out what was happening. I heard him tell his mom that he had no idea about any of it. And the guests? Mass confusion. The wedding coordinator was trying to tell people to move to the reception hall, but nobody knew what to do. Some people left immediately. Others stood around gossiping. I'm pretty sure I saw at least 3 people posting videos to TikTok before I left. My phone, still off, sat silent on the coffee table. I knew it would be full of messages, accusations, pleas. But for now, I just wanted to sit with my best friend and drink champagne and not think about any of it. The next morning, I turned my phone back on to find 147 missed calls and over 200 text messages. I deleted most of them without reading. The ones I did read ranged from supportive, good for you for standing up to her, cousin Lisa, to vitriolic, you're dead to this. Family, Aunt Patricia. My mom's voicemail was the hardest to listen to. I hope you're happy. You've destroyed your sister's life over money. Money, Emma. Is that really more important than family? She spent the night in jail, in her wedding dress. The shame of it. I don't know if I can ever forgive you for this. But there was one message that surprised me. From Brad. Emma, I know you probably don't want to hear from me, but I wanted to thank you. Finding out like this was horrible, but better than finding out after we were married. I had no idea she was capable of something like this. I'm sorry for what she put you through. Rachel was released on bail 2 days later. Our parents paid for it, of course. She was charged with felony credit card fraud, identity theft, and grand larceny. The prosecutor called me to discuss the case. With the evidence you provided, particularly the social media posts, we have a very strong case, she said. Are you prepared to testify if it goes to trial? Yes, I said without hesitation. Many times in family cases like this, there's pressure to drop charges. I want to make sure you understand that once we move forward, I understand. I'm not dropping anything. A week later, my dad called. She wants to see you. No, Emma. Dad, I have nothing to say to her. She's staying with us. Your mother won't let her be alone. She cries constantly. The wedding vendors are demanding payment. Brad called off the engagement. She's lost her job because of the arrest. She's talking about she's in a bad place, Emma. That's not my fault. I know it's not. But maybe if you could just talk to her. What would that accomplish? Is she going to apologize, take responsibility, or is she going to cry and play the victim and expect me to fix everything like always? He was quiet. You're right. I'm sorry. This isn't how I imagined any of this going. Me neither, Dad. But she made her choices. The preliminary hearing was 2 months later. I wore my best suit and arrived early. My family was there in force. Parents, aunts, uncles, cousins. They sat on Rachel's side of the courtroom. I sat alone on the prosecution's side until Keisha showed up, squeezing my hand. Rachel looked smaller somehow, dressed in a conservative black dress instead of designer clothes. She kept her eyes down the entire time. The prosecutor laid out the case methodically. The unauthorized use of my credit card, the evidence from social media, the pattern of purchases, the total amount stolen. When the judge asked how she pleaded, Rachel's lawyer spoke for her. "Not guilty, Your Honor." I shouldn't have been surprised, but I was. Even now, she couldn't take responsibility. After the hearing, as I was leaving the courthouse, my mom cornered me in the parking lot. "Drop the charges," she said. "Please, Emma, she's learned her lesson. Isn't this enough?" Has she? Because she just pleaded not guilty. That doesn't sound like someone who's learned anything. Her lawyer said that was strategy. She's willing to pay you back. With what money? You just told me she lost her job. We'll help. Your father and I will pay you back over time. So you want to enable her even more? Pay for her crimes, literally? She's our daughter. So am I. When do I matter, Mom? When do my feelings, my financial security, my trust matter as much as Rachel's wants? She looked at me like I'd slapped her. Of course you matter. Do I? Because from where I'm standing, I've always come second. I've always been expected to sacrifice, to understand, to forgive. Well, I'm done. I'm done being the responsible one, who has to eat the cost of Rachel's choices. This will destroy our family. Our family was already broken, Mom. This just made it impossible to ignore. I walked away, leaving her standing there. It was the last time we spoke for months. The trial was set for 6 months out. During that time, I threw myself into work, into therapy, into rebuilding my sense of self without the weight of my family's expectations. Marcus and I grew closer. He'd seen me at my worst and stuck around. "I'm proud of you," he said one night over dinner. "I know this hasn't been easy." "I keep waiting to feel guilty," I admitted. "Everyone says I should, that she's family, that I went too far. But I just feel relieved. Is that wrong? You stood up for yourself. That's not wrong. That's necessary." 2 weeks before the trial, Rachel's lawyer contacted the prosecutor about a plea deal. She was willing to plead guilty to reduce charges in exchange for probation and restitution. "The decision is ultimately yours," the prosecutor told me. "We can proceed to trial if you prefer. But this guarantees a conviction, and you'll get your money back eventually." I thought about it for days. Part of me wanted the trial, wanted her to face the full consequences. But a bigger part of me just wanted it to be over. "Take the deal," I finally said. At the plea hearing, Rachel had to allocute to her crimes. She stood before the judge and admitted to stealing my credit card, to making fraudulent purchases, to causing me financial harm. Her voice was barely above a whisper, but she said the words. The judge sentenced her to 3 years probation, 200 hours of community service, and ordered her to pay full restitution at a rate of $500 per month. A felony conviction on her record as a. We left the courthouse. She tried to approach me. "Emma, No," I said. "We're done here." But my mom couldn't let it go. "She took responsibility. She's going to pay you back. What more do you want?" I want to have been enough. I want to have mattered enough that she wouldn't have stolen from me in the first place. I want parents who would have been as angry about what she did to me as you are about what the consequences did to her. But I can't have any of that, so I'll settle for justice and distance. "You're really going to cut us all off? Your whole family? You cut me off the moment you chose her crime over my pain? It's been a year now. I get a restitution check every month, though it'll take over 3 years to pay back everything she stole. I don't cash them immediately anymore. Sometimes I let them pile up on my desk, these little reminders that I stood up for myself. My dad calls occasionally. We meet for coffee sometimes, away from Mom and Rachel. He tells me Rachel is working retail, living at home, trying to rebuild her life. He doesn't pressure me to forgive anymore. Your mom misses you, he said last time. I miss who I thought. She was too, I replied. Some of my extended family has reached out, apologizing for rushing to judgment. Others still think I'm the villain who ruined Rachel's life over money. I've made peace with both reactions. Marcus and I moved in together. Keisha jokes that she's my family now, and honestly, she's not wrong. I've learned that family isn't just about blood. It's about who shows up, who has your back, who believes you when you say you've been wronged. Sometimes I wonder if I could have handled it differently. If there was a path that didn't end with lawyers and courtrooms and fractured relationships. But then I remember standing in Rachel's apartment at 6 a.m., watching her lie to my face even when caught red-handed. I remember my mom immediately taking her side. I remember years of being told to be the bigger person while Rachel faced no consequences. I did what I had to do. Not for revenge, not out of spite, but out of self-respect. For the first time in my life, I chose myself over keeping the peace. It cost me the family I had, but it gave me the life I deserved. The other day, I got a wedding invitation from a college friend. My first thought wasn't about Rachel's ruined wedding or the family drama. It was about what to wear, what gift to buy, how happy I was for my friend. That's when I knew I was healing. My credit's been restored. My emergency fund is slowly being rebuilt. I've learned to set boundaries and stick to them. Most importantly, I've learned that sometimes the most loving thing you can do for someone is to let them face the consequences of their actions. And sometimes the most loving thing you can do for yourself is to refuse to be anyone's victim, even if they're family, especially if they're family.